everyone, welcome back to another Beast of the Mesozoic review. Today we're taking, guess what, another look at a Tyrannosaur series Wave 2 figure. Today it's one of the smaller ones. It is Suskityrannus. Now this figure is currently available on Creative Beast Studios website. It retails for $39.99. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself. So yeah, this is another really cool figure I was excited to get because obviously it's going to pair well with the previously released Zuniceratops. So let's go over the package really quick. We got a little cheeky Suskityrannus taken off with a little egg right here. Nice window display with the figure. Beast of Mesozoic logo right in the middle, Suskityrannus, Tyrannosaur series on the bottom, spinning it around. The nice product shot of the figure, some information about Suskityrannus, and the rest of the figures in Wave 2. So that will do it for the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And here is Suskityrannus the packaging. And I have to say, these little Tyrannosaur figures are an absolute delight to mess around with. If you want the best experience and feel of this line, I think these smaller figures are the way to dip your toes into getting into it. They're just really fun to mess around with. They're not like the big bulkier figures that are really hard to pose. You can get some nice poses. These figures with the included display base. Obviously, now the color scheme on this figure is based off the osprey. Very nice natural coloration to it. You have a lot of whites, browns, and just a hint of metallic silver on the side, which is a very, very nice touch. As a whole, I think the Tyrannosaur series has a very natural paint scheme going for it, unlike the Ceratopsian wave, which the color schemes were, to put it lightly, quite bold. I like the vivid color schemes on the Ceratopsians. I know is a turnoff to some people, but I feel like these Tyrannosaurs hit a nice balance without being too bold. Now, Suskityrannus is from the Zuni Basin Formation. The other notable species from that is obviously Zuniceratops. And before this species was described, it went by a bunch of different names: Zunicelorosaur, Tyrannosaur, and Zunityrannus. Before it was discovered that it was a very, very primitive Tyrannosaur, and actually made an appearance in the Dinosaur documentary, When Dinosaurs Roamed America, voiced by one of my favorite actors, John Goodman. And if you're wondering where that little egg I have in its mouth comes from, it's the egg that comes with the Jurassic Park 3 Hammer Collection, Alan Grant, and female Velociraptor. And now for some measurements. This figure is 8 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of that feathered tail, or 20.3 centimeters. About 3 inches tall to the top of the head, or 7.6 centimeters. So Suskityrannus is estimated around 9.8 feet long, or 3 meters. So I'll put this figure in the 115 scale range. So yeah, it makes it a little bit big for the 118 scale that Beast of the Mesozoic is going for. However, the two Suskityrannus specimens discovered, it's believed they are juvenile. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they actually did get up to this size. Now let's just go over all the accessories that come with Suskityrannus, but I forgot to show it off earlier. Here is the artwork card that comes with this figure, with the little Susky running away with an egg with a very, very angry Zuniceratops chasing after it. In the back of the card, we have a picture of the actual figure and some information about Zuniceratops. Now going down to the accessories, you do get this nice display base. This is the same base that comes with Guanlong and the Proceratosaurus. Nice mossy forest effect on here. Like I said, these are all sculpted exactly the same, but the different paint apps make them feel very, very different. You do have the display rod that plugs right in here. It's a very tight fit, so what I suggest when you push this in, do it from the base so you're going to easily snap this rod. You do have this smaller piece right here for the chest of the figure to rest on. I really don't like using this piece, so I like to pop it off and put this larger U-shaped piece in. I feel like you get more support with this one, but at least you have a couple different display options to use with this rod. Really, really wish there was storage for the little feetsies on the bottom, just like the Raptor series. And speaking of the feet, you do get these very, very tiny pairs of feet. These are the closed-toe feet. Like I said, they're small. Definitely put all this stuff in a Ziploc bag somewhere so you don't lose everything. And you also do get a pair of walking toe feet, and then obviously display toes come mounted on the figure already. And now let's take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head. Like I said, these little figures is absolute joy to mess around with. You do have some nice dark brown for the snout and just a hint of blue around the fenestra. The eye is painted a reddish brown color with a black pupil. Has a nice glossy coat to give it that reflective look. You have a little bit of white on the lower jaw. lighter brown and more of that dark brown. Open the mouth up. The mouth can open up really wide. Really wish a lot of the Tyrannosaurs could get the range of opening the mouth like this Suskityrannus can. And inside the mouth, you can see the teeth are all nicely painted in white. You do have a dark pink coloration for the upper jaws and lower jaws, and for the tongue, all decked out in that glossiness to give it that wet look. And then going down to the rest of the body, you can see all those browns, blacks mixed in with the white coloration. You have a tuft of white feathers on top of the head. Here's a view of the head from the front. You can see it's starting to get that binocular vision that Tyrannosaurs are known for. It's pretty cool to think of this guy. This was pretty much the blueprint for what Tyrannosaurs would become. Then going down to the body, the whole body is just sculpted in nice feather detail. Let's get the camera to focus in on that so you can actually see it. You do have this like metallic silver paint for like the underside of the throat and the belly. I think it's a really nice look when the light just hit it right. It just gives it a really nice sheen. Going down to the arms, you can see the three-fingered forearms. The claws are decked out in glossy black paint. The inside of the palms are decked out in yellow. And then going down to the rest of the body, you can see more of that really nice paint job that this figure had with those black, browns, and whites. Mixing in, going to the hind legs, the feet are cast in yellow plastic. Nice dry brushing effect to bring out all that detail. Toe claws done in black paint, and going down to the tail, you have this nice banded effect with the brown contrasting with the white. And at the end, you have this blackish brown coloration for the feathers at the end of the tail. So all around, another very nice, natural looking color scheme. This Suskityrannus, I think this will make a lot of collectors very happy. Now for articulation on these small figures is much better than the little figures. Mouth can close completely flush. It can open up really wide. You want to keep it right about here so you don't break where the gums are. You open up any further, it looks like, it just ripped its gums out of its mouth. Head can rotate 360 degrees. The neck hoodie does allow upwards and downwards movement, and using those joints in tandem, you can get some nice side-to-side movement on those joints, much better than some of the larger figures. And then going down to the forearms, arms can swing out just a tiny bit, but they move forwards and backwards. You get just about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow joint. Wrists do have a hinge joint for inwards and outwards movement and rotation. Going down to the body, you have this midsection joint for upwards and downwards rotation and some side-to-side movement. Hind legs, you get backwards and forwards movement. You get a nice bend at that knee joint, and at the ankle joint, you also do get a nice bend, and the feet do rotate, and there's a little bit of pivot on that ball joint. Going down to the tail. Tail is a bendable wire tail. You get upwards, downwards, and side-to-side movement. And like I said, the tail is rubbery, so you can get some different poses using that rubber wire in there. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with the Hammer Collection Robert Muldoon, which is a 1/18 scale figure. Like I said earlier, this clocks in at around 1/15 scale, but the two specimens are juveniles, so it's probably within the realm of possibility that they did get up to this size. And next up, let's do one of the 1/18 scale Raptors. Here it is with the fans' choice Dromaeosaurus, and let's do some of the other figures that share the same body mold as Suskityrannus. Here it is with the Proceratosaurus, and let's bring out Guanlong over here. Here's Guanlong. Let's get a little bit better into focus. You can see they all pretty much share the same body. Some have different sculpted tails, hands, and heads, but this is the cost-saving measure to get these figures made, because there's a lot of money that goes into tooling the molds to make these figures. So a lot of these figures are going to share the same body parts. And next up, here it is with Zuniceratops, which it lived alongside. It's so great now that we're actually getting those species to pair up with our Ceratops, and is making the line feel more and more complete with each wave being released. And next up, here it is with Dryptosaurus, which I can't wait to review that one. This figure is absolutely beautiful. And let's do one more. Wave 2 Tyrannosaur. Here it is with Chinsusaurus. And lastly, here it is with the 1/18 scale Tyrannosaurus Rex. So it's pretty cool to see, how small Tyrannosaurus started out with and what they eventually evolved into. So it makes for a really great comparison. So final thoughts on Suskityrannus. I mean, you know how it goes with the Beast of Mesozoic figures. I very rarely have anything bad to say about them. It has a great natural looking color scheme. These small figures are an absolute joy to play around and pose. Just another great addition to the ever-growing line of Beast of Mesozoic. If you have not gotten your hands on any of these figures in these lines, I highly recommend starting with some of these smaller figures just to get a feel for them. They're an absolute blast just to play around with, like I've said multiple times in this review, so I highly recommend this figure. And like I said earlier, these are now currently in stock. The link is down below, the Creative Beast Studios, if you want to order one for yourself. So that will do it for the review. I'm going to keep trucking on through these Tyrannosaur series Wave 2 reviews until I'm done. Got some Dinosaur stuff coming in. I'm sure more Jurassic World stuff will be popping in the next month or so, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.